One Olympic runner reached the finish after riding 11 miles in a car. The man who actually won was kept moving with strychnine and brandy. Another runner was chased nearly a mile off course by dogs. This was the 1904 Olympic Marathon, moved from Chicago into the spectacle of the St. Louis World's Fair. It sounds fake, but it's true. The Olympic Games had originally been awarded to Chicago, but St. Louis was already preparing the enormous Louisiana Purchase Exposition, and its organizers threatened to stage a rival athletic festival. The Games were moved. That decision placed the Olympics inside a World's Fair. Sporting events stretched across months. Crowds often struggled to distinguish Olympic contests from fair attractions, and the marathon became the most chaotic example of that confusion. On August 30th, 32 runners gathered at Francis Field. Some were experienced marathoners. Others had far less preparation for the distance. At 3:03 in the afternoon, David R. Francis fired the starting pistol. The men first circled the stadium track, then left for the countryside. The course covered about 2485 miles, roughly 40 kilometers, because the modern marathon distance of 26.2 miles had not yet been standardized. It was already in the low 90s Fahrenheit. The road climbed 7 significant hills, crossed rough stone, and remained open to ordinary life. Wagons, trolley cars, pedestrians, horses, and even trains complicated the road. Automobiles carrying coaches, doctors, officials, and reporters drove beside the runners. Their wheels lifted clouds from roads coated in deep dust. Competitors inhaled it while trying to maintain pace through the heat. The organizers provided only one official source of fresh water, about 12 miles from the start. James E. Sullivan, the game's chief athletic organizer, wanted to study the effects of purposeful dehydration. Today, deliberately restricting water during a hot marathon sounds reckless. In 1904, some officials treated it as an experiment. The athletes were not merely racing one another, they were being exposed to a dangerous theory. Among the favorites was Thomas Hicks, an English-born runner representing the United States. He had experience, a compact stride, and 2 handlers following his progress. None of that could protect him from the course. Fred Lorz was another American contender. A bricklayer by trade, he trained after work and had qualified through a special 5-mile race. Early in the marathon, he looked like a serious challenger. Felix Carvajal had traveled from Cuba after raising money through running exhibitions. He arrived at the start in a long-sleeved white shirt, long dark trousers, a beret, and heavy street shoes. According to the best-known account, another athlete cut Carvajal's trousers near the knees so he could run more freely. The improvised outfit looked ridiculous, but Carvajal's pace was anything but a joke. 2 Tswana runners, Len Tao and Jan Mashiani, also entered. They had come to St. Louis as part of a South African exhibit at the fair and became the first Black Africans known to compete in the modern Olympics. Their presence deserves more than a novelty label. Both were skilled long-distance runners. Historical photographs also correct a popular exaggeration. At least one of them wore shoes, despite later claims that both raced barefoot. As the field left the stadium, Hicks moved confidently near the front. Sam Meller, winner of the 1902 Boston Marathon, also challenged for the lead. Behind them, the pack began to stretch across the dusty road. The conditions punished lungs as much as legs. William Garcia collapsed roughly 8 miles from the finish after swallowing so much dust that he suffered internal bleeding. Quick assistance may have saved his life. Other experienced runners abandoned the race with cramps or vomiting. Meller slowed after taking the lead and eventually stopped. The marathon was becoming less a contest of speed than a test of who remained upright. Carvajal followed an entirely different rhythm. He chatted with spectators, reportedly took peaches from people in a car, and later ate apples from an orchard. The fruit caused stomach trouble, yet he returned to the course. One story says Carvajal even lay down for a short nap. Whether every flourish survived perfectly in the retelling, the result is certain. After the delays and street clothes, he still finished fourth. Len Tao also lost precious time. Contemporary accounts say a dog chased him about a mile off course. Even after the detour, he finished ninth, while Jan Masciani finished 12th. Then came Fred Lorz's shortcut. Around the 9th mile, cramps forced him to stop running. He climbed into one of the automobiles moving along the route and rode for approximately 11 miles. Lorz waved to people as the car passed other runners. When the vehicle later broke down, he got out. Feeling recovered, he returned to the course and ran toward Francis Field. Nobody at the stadium had a complete view of what had happened on the country roads. When Lorz appeared first, the crowd believed it was watching the Olympic champion enter the track. He crossed the line in 3 hours and 13 minutes. Officials prepared to honor him, and he was photographed with Alice Roosevelt, the American president's daughter. Then, witnesses revealed the automobile ride. Lorz claimed he had crossed the line as a joke and never intended to accept the prize. Officials were not amused. He was disqualified, and attention returned to the exhausted runner still approaching the stadium. Thomas Hicks had reached the 10-mile mark begging his handlers for water. They refused to let him drink. Instead, they rinsed his mouth with warm, distilled water while he continued into the heat. About 7 miles from the finish, the handlers gave Hicks egg whites mixed with a small dose of strychnine. The substance was used as a stimulant at the time. Today, it is recognized as a powerful poison. There were no modern anti-doping rules to stop them. As Hicks weakened, he received another mixture of strychnine and egg whites, now accompanied by brandy. Warm water was poured over his head and body. The treatment did not restore him in any normal sense. His face turned pale, his arms hung heavily, and his stride became mechanical. He reportedly hallucinated that the finish was still 20 miles away. Hicks begged to lie down, but his handlers kept him moving. They gave him more egg whites and brandy, guided him up the final hills, and encouraged him whenever his pace collapsed into a walk. News of Lorz's disqualification reached the group. Hicks briefly revived and tried to run. Ahead stood Francis Field, the same stadium he had left hours earlier, now filled with spectators waiting for a legitimate winner. When Hicks entered the stadium, he could barely support himself. His handlers held him beneath the arms while his feet continued to move. It was assistance permitted under the loose rules of the time. Hicks crossed in just under 3.5 hours. He was declared Olympic champion. 4 doctors treated him, and it took about an hour before he was well enough to leave the grounds. Albert Corey finished second, and Arthur Newton took third. Carvajal placed fourth. Of the 32 starters, only 14 are commonly listed as finishers, a number that captures how destructive the course became. Lorz's punishment did not end his career. His lifetime ban was soon lifted, and in 1905 he won the Boston Marathon without a car. Hicks, meanwhile, never produced another Olympic moment like this one. The race changed how people talked about the marathon. Officials considered removing the event from future games, while the disaster exposed the consequences of poor organization, uncontrolled roads, dehydration, and primitive medical ideas. The 1904 marathon survives because it feels impossible. A false winner in an automobile, a true winner dosed with poison, and remarkable runners overcoming chaos. It sounds fake. Every essential part of it was true.